who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonder's Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome. It's the Wow Report from Hollywood, California, Hollywood Boulevard, World of Wonder headquarters. I'm Tom Campbell, Chief Creative Officer. What does that mean?
I have no idea, but I'm impressed.
I'm not going to tell. Of World of Wonder. And normally here every week with Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, and James St. James, famous club kid, etc. And they're both gone. I'm not exactly sure where they're at, but I'm sure they will tell us all about it when they return. But lucky me, lucky us, we have first Blake, our millennial producer, who always just usually is in that orange chair sitting over there, but he's joined us here at the table.
Yeah.
Hi, Blake.
I feel like I'm like at the adults table at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, don't get used to it.
Okay.
And we're having children. And and joining us, extra special, hyphenate, filling many seats, actor, writer, comedian, Droege.
You got it.
I did
That's
it.
it.
Drew,
That's
what
right.
would how do you describe yourself on your resume?
I
What
don't
are your
know.
hyphenates?
Town whore.
Yes,
I'm really
I've
like
heard that.
seriously, I'll do whatever. I mean, like, I guess I would say actor, writer, or performer. I don't know.
Can you juggle?
Creative.
Can you juggle?
I cannot juggle.
Are you from
I have
dance?
zero special skills. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
no roller skating?
Can't roller skate.
French accent?
Oui, un petit peu. I can do a horrible French accent.
Can you make armpit noises with your?
I can. No.
Well,
But that feels good though. I
because
enjoy it.
we had a whole armpit noises segment. We're gonna
did?
do it another time.
I probably did. I probably did.
You're totally
I probably
right.
could make that if I really put my my real
you don't
armpit.
have to. You're our guest. You're here for the hour, and we are counting down the top 10 things that make us go wow. It's a simple agenda.
love it.
All right, coming in pop culture number 10.
Number 10.
Oh, to me, I usually start by myself, but
That's
here we
you.
go. I just want everyone to know. I try to talk about Linda Ronstadt as often as I can.
Absolutely, as you should.
Thank you. Which is hard because history, until recently, has kind of forgotten Linda Ronstadt. She's the biggest star of the 70s and
Sure.
80s. Career started in the 60s. She was a sex symbol when you could actually see someone's pores and still consider them a sex symbol.
Absolutely.
And sings more musical genres, has the most beautiful, God-given voice. But she got fat. She sort of doesn't give a shit about the star chasing game. She's all
I
about
love
making
that.
unique.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
great.
And then we found out in the last 10 years that she got Parkinson's disease. And this woman with one of like God's gifts to us in voices, who lived for her voice, got Parkinson's and can no longer sing. And so she wrote a book a while ago. She tours and talks about it, but she is like truly, it's not like a fake, it's not like Epstein's bar. She's really sick.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Yeah.
And I've been reading lots of articles.
Cue all those letters you're gonna get from Epstein bar victims. Like, hi.
Cher's going to call me. Cher's
yeah.
going to call me. That was one of those diseases. Anyway, sorry,
Sure.
people. Sorry, Epstein
Oh, yeah,
people.
sure.
Sorry. But there's a documentary called Linda Ronstadt, The Sound of My Voice. Are you a Linda Ronstadt fan, Drew?
You know what? I love. I've been cheated, been mistreated. What's that song? And then
When Will I Be Loved?
When Will I Be
You were
Loved?
so close. You were one
and
line
then
away.
I love You're No Good, You're No Good, You're
Yes.
No Good. I know that. I mean, so yeah. I mean, in general, I'm obviously not a huge fan. You know, every time I hear Linda Ronstadt's name, I think about. I've been very lucky all my life to have had a gay best friend, a different one everywhere I've moved. And when I was a child in Virginia, my gay best friend at the time said, "I don't like Linda Ronstadt. She sleeps in the nude." And that detail
That's kept you from
that
fully
kept
embracing
me from
Linda
fully
Ronstadt?
embracing her. So, every time I hear her name, I think of my friend saying that to me on the bus, and it really locked in something with me. But you know what? I think it just is, it just shows off her spirit of just like, I don't care. I'm going to sleep in the nude. And you know what, Linda? I sleep in the nude too.
She lived
so
in
good for you.
Malibu.
Does
She lived in
it?
Malibu. She should sleep in the nude.
Absolutely.
What does Linda Ronstadt mean to you? Or does she?
Linda Ronstadt to me means An American Tale.
Oh, of
Somewhere
course. Absolutely. Fievel.
Yeah.
out there.
That's what she means to me. I mean, I was a little, was that was like one of her last big.
Like top 40 hits, but she's
Yeah.
been doing music her whole life. She started off in the Stone Ponies in the 60s, was part of the troubadour scene, folk music, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Grew up at every musical genre she's performed, she says she heard before she was like 8 years old. Do you kind of believe that weirdness that you kind of like? It was
yeah.
Hank Williams, and she's Mexican heritage. She did a whole Mexican album, mariachis, and her mother loved to play Gilbert and Sullivan, and she did the Pirates of Penzance.
Oh, right, with Kevin Kline. Is that right? And
Rex
Smith. Are we homosexuals?
Yeah,
just a stab.
But you don't have you owe me nothing. But if you would see this documentary, it's
I will. I definitely will see it.
It's in the theater.
Yes.
It's a love letter, as it should be. It doesn't really pick away at or whatever. It just talks about, and you get to sit and listen to her. She never has sung like a sour note in her life, and so you get to see performances. She's performed the Rolling Stone songs, and
Her early band members were there was 2 members of the Eagles.
well, she was picked up a background band of Glenn Frey and the writer
Don-
of Desperate,
Don
Henley.
Don Henley.
Who Don Henley is a talking head in this documentary, but you also get to see pictures of him in the 1970s.
Oh yeah, Daddy. Oh yeah.
Stunning.
Sure.
Well, and
How to keep his hands off himself? I don't know.
she didn't write a lot of her music.
That
right?
was growing up. Those were people would say, well, because you had to be a singer-songwriter in the 70s, and this is before everyone just plowed. Every artist
Hasn't
plowed.
Linda done enough? Oh my God, it sounds like
I said
she
either
should.
did Ella Fitzgerald. She's a song stylist. I've learned genre. She was had such great taste. She also did that whole Nelson Riddle "What's New" album. Do you know of Standards? Doesn't and the mariachi. So there's like tons of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't know Linda Ronstadt, it's going to be on CNN eventually. It's playing in theaters now. It's called Linda Ronstadt: The Sound of My Voice. I won't say. I won't say. But I bawled like a baby in the last 2 minutes.
Didn't you do that same with that documentary about cats?
How dare you?
What documentary about cat dancers?
I like cat. There was a wonderful documentary about cats. It was
Well, hey,
cats
listen,
and, like,
documentaries
turkey.
will get you. Cats and turkey, and you were crying.
I don't remember crying. I might have
mean,
been
I get it.
hungry.
But that's terrible. Like, and that's same with Julie Andrews. Like these like great voices,
Yes.
and they lose their voice, and it's just like, it's.
Why
yeah.
couldn't it have been Fran Drescher?
Oh, we love you, Fran. I know, Fran. Here's 2 quotes, and I'll leave. Is first of all, in one of the articles, because she's a smart cookie, that Linda Ronstadt. She's really deep and interesting, and people ask her serious questions, she has serious answers, and they said to her, like, here you are, known for your voice. Your whole life has been around you expressing yourself through your incredible vocal gift and vocal talent. And she goes, when this happens to you, how do you deal with that? And she said 2 words: radical acceptance. Which I just love.
Wow.
Radical acceptance. Put them together. And just the idea that, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So let's remember that. And she also said that she hopes that she doesn't want it to be people who see the movie, the documentary, to like feel bad for her or anything. She goes, I just want to remind people to sing. She goes, there's public, private, and secret singing. Like singing
that.
singing in the shower, singing around the dinner
In the
table,
car.
and singing in the car. And when I met Linda Ronstadt once in my life, I went up to her at Equipment to Life benefit. There was Madonna. Everyone was there. I went to Linda, and I hate talking to celebrities because I just feel like I never get.
Thank you for touching me when you say celebrities.
Celebrities.
No, it's a real chore. I'm sure.
I don't mind
I'm radically
groping
accepting. I'm radically accepting you talking to me.
But I went to her and I got down on one knee and I didn't know what I was going to say. It was very sudden. I said, I just want you to know that you're one of my favorites. And then you just pray to God that something comes out of your mouth. And I said, there isn't a day, this is 25 years ago, that I don't sing a Linda Ronstadt song in the shower.
Oh,
So Linda and I are so
awesome.
connected, or she stole from me. Either way, I'm very excited. See a Linda Ronstadt, The Sound of My Voice documentary in theaters now. Let's move on to number 9.
Number 9.
That's me. Another day, another reboot. Have you guys heard about the Peacock streaming service, the new
Is it
NBC?
NBC?
NBC
Okay,
Universal.
And a Peacock. Yeah. Sure. The Carol Burnett. That's CBS.
They had-
Okay.
They had previously announced a Punky Brewster reboot with Soleil Moon Frye.
So she's an adulteress now.
She
I mean,
is.
not an adulteress, an adult.
She
actress.
is an adult, and she's a mother, of course. And it's just a pilot right now and at this stage, but it will feature Soleil Moon Frye returning to the eponymous role, this time as a single mother of 3 who runs into a young girl who reminds her of herself at an age when the original series took place.
Oh, so she's Aunt Punky.
Yeah, but the big story
But is there child protection services in this episode?
I hope it's super dark and gritty. Like we
I
did with
want you to live
Sabrina.
with me, but the state won't let you. Okay.
like the Heathers reboot.
Yes.
that
That I was
Drew
on.
Was on.
Yeah, that I did. Yeah,
saw the
that was
first-
that was yeah.
Um,
That was, ugh.
The big, the big
my favorite creative project I've ever done. And yeah, no, we can't, have it. We can't have nice things.
Saved by the Bell is coming back
Oh God.
with Jesse Spano and Wow Celebrity Mario Lopez are reprising their roles.
We
as-
shot Mario's wedding in Mexico as a special for TLC, and forever he'll be a wild celebrity to Blake. Isn't that nice?
Wow.
Well,
He-
once
he
a
did
Wow
what?
You're a
Celebrity.
wild celebrity now because you've been
Oh.
here.
You
Wild
are.
celebrity.
Oh, does that mean I'm getting married in Mexico? Mario
To a woman named Courtney.
And Putamina.
Putamina?
Uh-huh.
Who's that?
Well, that's where Joe Francis's estate is, and that's where Mario got married.
Font of knowledge. Font of
Hello.
knowledge.
Look at that. I thought it was a character
So are you
on
are
Saved by
these-
the
Are
Bell.
these shows that meant anything to you growing
Saved
up?
by the Bell is
I watched a little Saved by the
Punky
Bell.
Punky Brewster was a little before my time, but this one California Governor Zach Morris, who is played by Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Plot twist.
Great.
Yeah, he's the governor now, and he's in hot water for closing too many low-income high schools, and he proposes.
What? Wait a minute. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah, he proposes they send the affected students to the highest performing schools in the state, including Bayside High, and the influx of new students gives the overprivileged Bayside kids a much-needed and hilarious dose of reality.
Oh, so they're like they're it's busing. It's a comedy about busing and
is
making
busing.
the privileged white kids deal with those with less privilege than them.
Well, and I'd also
and then with the
And
Saved by
are
the
they
Bell
all gonna have-
aesthetic.
well, then there was news on
that
That
hallway
sounds
set.
impossible to
That
make
hallway
work.
set.
well that they use for everything. It's been used in like That's So Raven and so many other shows.
Wow.
But Paul Gosselaar, who played Zach,
Yeah.
Sure.
Today.com said it's not clear if any of the other sitcoms, other stars, including Mark Paul, who played Zach, will be involved. Because apparently he has a show on Disney Plus or something. But
So many streamers.
he
There's so
didn't
much.
even know that they were doing a reboot. He came out and said on Wednesday that this was the first.
That's not
he
surprising
learned,
to me.
Like,
There's so many times they don't tell the people. And then what they also love to do in a lot of these shows is they announce it before they tell the actors, and then the actors feel like, I have to do it now
Right.
because all the fans come out
Well,
and they
that's
go,
probably
we have
a
to do it.
reason.
So that's a weird. They get them that way too.
Like a negotiation ploy.
Yeah, they pretty
almost.
much go, we're in production. Are you with us,
Yeah.
or are you gonna make
Shannon
us
Doherty, are you
think-
coming or not?
yeah.
Right.
Did
Well,
anyone
yeah.
watch the 90210?
I heard
reboot?
it was incredible. Like
I
I
have
heard
all
it was
6
so good.
episodes saved, but I haven't watched them.
I
yet.
heard everyone that I haven't seen it, but now 90210 I did love. I mean, way more than those other
Same.
two shows.
And they were so much better.
so much better,
Different, totally different.
Yeah, and I also, I mean, but in my brain at the age that I was, oh yeah, like I would
I get
totally
it.
agree with you because I was like, oh, there's drama, there's
Yeah.
like real because they were just older than me, the 90210
Yeah.
kids, and so they were like high school. Like it
Get
was
it.
when I was in junior high or whatever,
Okay.
I would watch the show, and I thought it was just like
I'm feeling
really good.
age shamed, but that's more my thing than your thing. That's good.
Well, tune in April when Peacock launches.
Yes, this is the whole thing with streamers. All right, thank you, Blake. Drew Droege, our extra special
Oh.
guest. Tell us what you have for us in the Wow Report at number 8.
Number 8.
All right, number 8. Saturday Night Live. I have to say, I am out of the gate the most excited for Bowen Yang and Chloe Fineman because they are two of the most hilarious, lovely people. I feel so.
New cast members.
New cast members
have
on
been
Saturday Night
announced to
Live.
join this coming
They've just
season.
been announced.
And they're groundlings, right? Which you are.
Well, Chloe was in the Groundlings, and Bowen I know from New York, but I've gotten to like direct both of them and teach both of them and be friends with both of them. And they've
So
worked
what
so
you're
hard.
saying is everything
It's all
that's
me.
good about them, they
They learned
they
it
from you. Okay, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm very clear about that.
That's good. The truth telling. It's just a truth telling here at the Wow
Yeah,
Report.
but no, I mean they're just like two of the most special people too. Like it was something that like, Bowen was a writer on the show last year, and so we were so excited for him then,
Yeah.
and then now that he gets to be a cast member and the first East Asian cast member in the history of that show.
That's
Well, it's
awesome.
only been-
Only been 45
seasons.
years.
Yeah, I don't want to rush
And-
into
I
that
know.
kind of a thing.
And openly gay, and Chloe is just beyond bananas hilarious. So and then yes, the Shane Gillis, who was the third person who was very rightfully fired on Monday.
I don't know if I've been busy this week or so many scandals happened. I didn't even have a chance to even catch up on this one.
Oh wow!
I know.
See,
I know
in the
he was on.
comedy world, it's all we're talking about
all right,
because.
So help me.
Okay, so they announced the 3 people, and then I had never heard of this Shane Gillis person, and then there was a video that was leaked shortly after he was hired of him on a podcast
Because the presidential candidate, Yang, is that his name?
Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one that blew the whistle, right?
Oh, I didn't know that he did. I know that he was involved because he was talking about him.
I thought he was the
Shane
one that was
talking
like,
about him.
check this out or
Oh,
something.
wow.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, because he's involved in some way, but I know that like a video was leaked where he's basically just using straight up slurs, and he's on a podcast, just like us right now, and just casually saying slurs and saying things like, "It turns out you can be racist against Asians, like that's okay." And guess what? And then, just.
He's also said homophobic
slurs as well, like constantly, and not like in any sort of joke. The thing about it is like, even if I violently disagree with something, is if you even have the idea of a joke around it, I can go, well, that's not my kind of humor. But there's no joke, and you're not playing a character, you're not on stage, you're not doing stand-up, you're in this environment,
right.
You're speaking your truth. And he did it a year ago. He said this 1 year ago.
So it was a long time
ago.
ago.
A long time ago. I mean, it feels like it in this day and age.
A year ago.
Well, and we were in the a year ago, even more in the midst of like the woke generation.
Absolutely.
You know?
I do think SNL had to have known on some level. I think they were thinking like, let's have a conservative opinion to go against this because they have been criticized for being too liberal.
Right.
I don't think they're ever liberal enough, but also the thing is, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Conservative people aren't funny. Like by definition, you are not funny. And I have conservative family members who I love dearly. They're not Trump supporters, but they are conservative, and many of them are not really like. That's not what I would say about them. It's like they're hilarious.
Right.
They put on wigs and they do crazy characters. They have a really clear point of view and they see the world through. That's not so. So good luck trying to find that, number one.
I feel like Bill Maher once said, and he has his own controversies these days, but he said some clever things over the year. But he was sort of like, comedy needs the truth. You're making fun of the truth. There has to be honesty in the comedy. And a lot of conservative stuff is so convoluted, their point of view, that it's not
and they
truth-based.
they love just shock humor. It's
Right.
like they just love like, oh, that's filthy. That's my humor. And it's like, but that's not what's funny about that.
Right.
Like they haven't thought about it in that way. And so yeah, I mean, it's just it all blew up in their faces, and I'm very, very proud that SNL fired this guy because
Very quickly. It
very
happened
quickly.
quick.
Yes.
So and there's 2 wonderful new members to look forward to.
And it's also a thing that we can now focus on how exciting it is for Bowen and Chloe to join the cast because they're going to be 2 of the best people on the show.
Yep. It returns on Saturday, September 28th with Woody Harrelson and Billie Eilish.
That's around the corner.
Well, there you go.
All right. Now we're going to take a little commercial break. To keep our 8 viewers and listeners with us, we do a little trivia, something to keep them busy during the commercial.
Great.
So we're going to ask the question, we're going to think about an answer, and then we'll answer it after the commercial
break.
break.
I can't wait.
It's very complicated. I can repeat that. No, I won't do that.
I've got a 3-parter.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, hi.
Sorry,
Because
check
I figured Drew would know the first part.
Okay.
Who was the first guest host of SNL?
I know.
Who was the
Ronstadt.
first female host?
I know.
And who was the first host multiple times?
I'm going to guess, but I think I'm right.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Okay, number one.
No,
we don't-
commercial break.
Oh, God. See,
I think
know
you
was
do
gonna
need
it
to
wrong.
explain it again.
I will have to explain it again. You are listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Hey there, we're back. It's the Wow Report on Radio Andy. I'm Tom Campbell here with Blake Edwards, I want to say, or Blake
Edwards.
Jacobs. Blake
I
Edwards
love
is here.
10.
And join us, extra special guest, Droege. I'm so afraid
Kind
of your
of. That was
last name.
kind of right.
Drew Droege.
That was it. That's it.
Actor, comedian.
You may know him as
writer.
Chloe Sevigny on the internet.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right. Oh, maybe we'll do a segment.
We'll
Make
do a
you do like your
segment-
things.
or Carol Channing. We'll do a segment as
That
Carol
was my
Channing.
share.
Cher.
That was Cher with loose stitches.
Cheryl Channing.
Cheryl Channing. Oh my God.
I come to you, greetings. I've just come off a private jet with RuPaul.
You have.
who I said had to go to the office and do a little thing, and that you were our guest. And he was like, he was on AJ and the Queen.
I love Rue so much.
He had nice things to say about you, and I was like, who? Drew? No, he said you're part of the writing staff, and you did a great job and very smart. And he lit up when he heard your name.
Oh my God, that's
by
so
me.
nice. Oh my God, that's so sweet. He's the reason I got the job. It's like so. Thank you.
He
Yeah.
asked
I
me,
mean, whatever.
And AJ and the Queen is because RuPaul is not doing enough. He's just lazing around.
know.
He is so lazy.
But he has a
Yeah.
Netflix series, a scripted comedy Netflix series that Drew is writing on, Michael Patrick King, where Rue is in and out of drag, on the run. You know better.
You're going
but
to see Rue in a way that you've never seen him before. He's an actor on the show. I mean, he is so good on the show.
excited
And
for
it's
that.
Michael Patrick King, who's a genius. And it's like the mind of Sex and the City and the comeback and RuPaul just smashed together
All
in the most
together.
beautiful way. So it's great.
I'll take 2, please.
I asked the question before we left.
Yes, you did. Like
we were talking.
question.
We were talking about SNL, and I asked who was the first guest host of SNL.
I get to ask because you think you know. I'm going to ask you if I'm right.
Okay.
Buck Henry.
No. I'm going to say no.
Okay, that's good.
George Carlin.
That's correct.
Choked.
Who was the first female host of SNL?
I'm going to say Candace Bergen.
Yes, that's what I'm going to say.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And who was the first person to host multiple times?
I'm going to say Steve Martin.
That's what I would say.
Nope.
Oh.
Candace Bergen.
Oh, bitch.
I was going to guess Robert Klein.
And I
because know
tilted you
he,
towards
know,
Toya.
but no, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
All right,
2
that's
out of
fun.
3.
Well, that was fun. I think the show should be over now. That was really fulfilling. But we still are counting down the top 10 things that make us go, wow, in pop culture this week. And we are at number 7.
Number 7.
And speaking of documentaries, are you familiar with the one that's playing right now, Country Music by Ken Burns?
Ken Burns is doing country music.
Ken
I saw someone
Burns.
post about that, but I have not seen it.
Would you hear about this?
I haven't heard until you mentioned it.
What's personal to me is that Ken Burns, obviously from the Civil War and everything else, and I try to keep up with all his documentaries because he's prolific. It's baseball, it's jazz, it's everything you should know about.
And this is like a huge film.
This is like 7
yeah,
2-hour episodes.
A docuseries.
Wow.
And I just kind of dig. I'm from New Hampshire, and people are like, well, you country music. I'm like, wherever there's an AM radio station and a pickup truck, there is country music.
Yeah.
And where are you from originally, Drew?
North Carolina. For
Country
sure.
music.
Absolutely.
And they identify anyone talking here. It's like, Trisha Yearwood, Virginia. Like everybody has where they're
that's
from.
great. Yeah.
I've only seen the first 2 hours. It is also Ken Burns and Duncan Dayton. Sorry, Droege.
That's
It's
all right.
Duncan Dayton.
Who was that?
He's the writer-director, and he's just a name. Again, I'm from New Hampshire, and I'm old, but he was wrote for the local paper of my hometown, the
shut
Argus
up.
Champion or the Eagle. He went on to work for the governor of the state, and I think he worked for Mondale and his campaign. But he's this, old white guy. God bless him. God bless us. And and they have put together this comprehensive documentary about the history of country music.
What's it broken down into?
Well, the first one, I only seen the first one, and it's sort of from the turn of the century with the advent of radio and the microphone and how it proliferated. Because it was just people in the hills singing to each other.
Sure.
And when they started when the phonograph industry got really big, the powers that be were making records in German, race records, of African American people, anything they could get their hands on to sell records, opera records, and they didn't even realize until somebody came in and sang them, and they didn't know what to call it, and they ended up calling it hillbilly music.
Wow.
And
I wish they still did. That'd be so gonna be great.
And Dolly's on it. She's like, well, hillbilly's kind of like a racial comment. You can say it about yourself, but you can't say it about other people. I know that sounded like Carol Channing too.
Dolly though is near impossible to do. You don't ever see drag queens do Dolly Parton. I mean, you do, but they don't do her
Visually
voice.
sometimes, yeah.
Visually maybe, but they can't. That voice is singular.
And now her lips kind of touch her teeth.
Oh,
and so
I
she
just
says,
love her so much.
country music, you can dance to it, you can sing to it, you can make love to it. Okay, that worked on my mind.
My favorite in the SNL, there's the SNL book, and when Dolly Parton hosted, because I think Jan Hooks said that Dolly Parton was her favorite guest, and Jan Hooks is my favorite cast member of all time in SNL, and said that Dolly Parton came into the writer's room and said, all right, y'all, she's like, I won't cuss and I won't make fun of Jesus, but everything else is fair game. And I was like, I love you. Isn't that what? I won't
cuss.
cuss and I won't make fun of Jesus. I'm like, I
her.
get it. I love it. My favorite movie of all time is Nashville. So I do have a love for old timey country music. I'm
into like older. I'm
I
into
love
like
old
70s,
gospel.
80s
Sure.
country music.
They call
Yeah.
that prime country on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
I listen more to Willie Nelson's Roadhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, channel like 58.
And then I also love like the Dixie Chicks country.
Sure. Do y'all know Pump Boys and Dinettes? Like, I love that.
Yes.
Like, anything like that, I love.
But they attempt to tell a story that I will mangle, which is that it's this amalgamation because the banjo is really a drum instrument that comes from Africa. The fiddle comes from like Great Britain and Scotland. And what was the thing? There was a thing. And the harmonica comes from someplace. So it was like this, and mariachi music from so it is a black Mexican white, even though it's I read some
Right.
article on Slate or something I started to where it was saying they whitewash country music, and I get it, and you can bring up a lot of
Did
controversy.
the documentary whitewash
Yes,
it?
they don't get into the controversy enough, and you can always get into that, but I'm just hungry for the knowledge of and how radio stations were like websites or something. People were like insurance companies who had money would make a radio tower, and they would have shows because they were trying to sell traveling insurance.
That's what it's like brought to you by.
Yes, but it was so it was like insurance companies, and then they would have local people come in and sing for free, and then the recording industry happened, and then there's a guy, and I forget his name, an entrepreneur in the record industry, and he's the one who hillbillied them up. It was like, you'd see them like they had recorded in their suits and ties. It's like hillbilly them up. There was some minstrel stuff, not pleasant, but part of the history. And there was a guy named Jimmy Rogers who only was alive, only famous for like 26 to like 34, but he kind of put in the yodel.
Okay.
And which is like thing, and then kind of the country swagger and the train. He has some song called Muleskin Train or something. And then the Carter family, June Carter Cash.
Of course.
Her mother was a master guitar player, and they explained how, and her sister from the Carter family, and they were just this kind of prim family that didn't go out much, and they kind of created what we know today as country music. Anyway, it's a really fascinating series. You can watch it on pbs.org.
Yeah, or on the PBS app.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to get that. Now that I've overtalked, we're going to rush to...
Has anyone ever done that after they said PBS app ever? Get that PBS app.
Tap that app. All right, Blake, what do you got for us at number 6?
Number 6.
Well, unfortunately, this week we lost a good one. Rick Ocasek from the Cars.
It's crazy.
I know. I actually.
You may think it's crazy.
Oh my God. Totally handed you.
Did you guys love the Cars?
I
Or
loved the Cars.
Tom?
I did. Again, I'm the wrong... my friend, I tagged my friends on Facebook, Stan and Lon and Steve, because our senior year and the Cars, that first album and the whole that's not what you wear.
Yeah.
I don't mind coming
ribbons
here.
in your
I'm wasting-
hair.
yeah.
I always remember watching their videos, like the video with the supermodel. You might think, no, Magic is the one with it's magic. Yeah, I used to watch those on VH1 when I was little, but I never really got into the Cars until my freshman year of college. And then I got the Greatest Hits album, and every freaking song on it is amazing.
Yeah.
But
Really is.
anyway, he was found by his. They separated a year ago.
Estranged.
Yeah, Paulina Portskova.
I was going to ask if they were still together because I remember they were such a hot thing because they were such an interesting
Yes.
sort
Couple,
of alien couple together in the 80s. They're
Yeah,
very,
they just like split up last year, but they were still super close. I think like she was next to him when they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I think she found him, right?
She went in to bring coffee on Sunday morning,
That
and
means you're close.
yeah, of course, maybe
And
even
she
closer
said-
than a lot of married people.
Wait, what did she put her? I touched his cheek to rouse him. It was then that I realized that during the night he had peacefully passed on. He had been suffering he had emphysema, and he was recovering from surgery, and I guess he passed away from cardiovascular disease. So
He was only 75.
75. Yeah.
He's a kid.
Yeah, baby.
Well, the older I get, the less like that does not. Seem
I have a
as
thing
old.
where anybody, if they're under 80, I'm like, that's,
too soon.
She's
Yeah.
young.
The Cars were a very unique sound, right? Because they kind of early '80s, everything was supposed to be kind of punk, and that kind of burnt out fast. But they somehow survived because it was bigger than that.
The album covers are
Yes.
That
fucking amazing.
haunting blonde woman with the giant lips that's on the cover.
I have them on my
like,
walls.
It's just like the
the Candy
iconic.
O one.
Oh yeah.
The drawing, it's kind of a
And then the
Vargas
Shake It
girl.
Up with the mixer.
Ooh, shake it
So
up.
good.
Fun.
So
Well,
he
it's party
passed.
music. It
He
was,
passed away Sunday, September 15th. He was 75.
Rest in perfection, Rick Ocasek. Thank you, Blake. All right, going from that to something maybe even more important. Number 5.
Number 5.
What do you have first?
Okay, so to talk about what gives me life,
Yes.
Hustlers.
Yes.
This movie is
So hyped. So I
But,
want to know,
like,
does
I
it
gotta
live?
say-
Can it live up to the
okay,
hype?
so-
Oscars for Jennifer
Yes.
Lopez.
absolutely, and I cannot believe I thought that until I saw this movie. I mean, I would never have that thought, but I love her in this movie. This movie found the role for Jennifer Lopez. First of all, you think it's gonna be Showgirls, and it ends up it's more Goodfellas, and it's a true story. It's fascinating. It's so well told. It's told unlike any movie I've ever seen. There's some really creative just use of sound and just filmmaking and just the way the story is broken up. So it's really fun to watch.
The soundtrack was
the soundtrack,
amazing.
unbelievable.
You've seen it too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw it last night.
The sequence with Usher, oh my God, I was
that.
so happy.
There's
I
an
couldn't
Usher
stop-
sequence?
There's an Usher
Yes.
sequence. Spoiler.
Her first performance.
Okay, I was heterosexual for 5 solid minutes watching
Me
that.
too.
Right?
When
You
she
watched that with
clacked
Jennifer
her-
Lopez. Yes, the boom.
To Fiona Apple's Criminal.
All right.
I was at an advanced LGBT screening, and I mean every man in that. Well, it was an advanced
Oh, a
screening.
preview.
Not
These
advanced
were
LGBT.
advanced LGBT.
I have advanced
Yeah, they're
LGBT.
super gay.
If that's a condition, I have
Everything
it.
comes out like Carol Channing when
I'm
you have advanced
fully-
LGBT.
I'm sick with it. Yeah. And so we were, and everyone in the audience, all the men in the audience were like, "What's happening to me right now?" And the women were just exploding all over the place. They were just like, "What's?" I mean, she's so sexy, and it also is like she just has so many levels. I mean, she's fantastic, and I hope she gets the Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination. I really do think
Cardi
she deserves
B
it.
was, I
Cardi
thought,
B,
really good.
fun. Lizzo, really fun. They're
Lizzo.
both barely in it, but Constance Wu's is great. And who else? Who else is in it? Julia Stiles, great.
Julia Stiles.
But Keke Palmer is delightful. I wanted more of her because I love her every time
Love
she's on screen.
her.
And then who's the white woman? Lily.
Lily Reinhart.
Oh
That's
my
who I was trying to
God,
think
she's
of.
a revelation. I'm so sad to say I never knew who she was until this, and I'm
knew her
blown
name, but, yeah.
away by her. And it's also funny, like aside from it being, because we went to be like, let's laugh at
Yes.
this really campy movie,
Yes.
and it's actually genuinely funny. You know, the other movie the other revelation this year for me was the movie Ma with Octavia Spencer.
Yeah.
Was another one that I'm like, this is actually a fantastic movie. The acting's good. It's actually funny, not like campy, like we're laughing how bad it is. We're like, oh, this knows what it is, and it's so confidently made, and I hate saying proud because it's like what do they care about? But like, it's nice to see a movie like really be that ballsy and not be so doing what anything else has already done.
Right, the formula. Who directed Hustlers?
Lorraine Scarafia is her name.
A lady
A
director.
lady, and it is clearly made by a woman. That's the other thing too. It is so female gaze. It's so like you're seeing like, because it's smart. It's sharp. It's funny.
I was secretly hoping in my cynical gay heart, not knowing you well, but knowing of you, that you would come here and you'd be the smart gay who'd be like, "Oh, I saw Hustlers."
No, I'm the
and
dumb
and
gay
don't
that loves
believe
it.
the hype. And you were like, "No, it's the real thing."
And I would
believe
tell you because
I believe you.
There's plenty of stuff that I'm like,
Right.
No, I don't believe it, but I loved it. Loved it.
Oh my God! If you haven't already, rush out. Stop what you're doing. Get out of your car. Leave it wherever it is, and go
You
see.
should go see it tonight.
Hustlers with J-Lo. If I can stay awake, I think I will. And by the way, I love a bad J-Lo movie too.
Me too. She's
Boy Next Door.
Boy Next Door. Oh my God, that Boy Next Door is one of my favorite. Like that is, they haven't made anything like that in forever, and it's horrible and makes zero sense.
No, but it's like an old Lana Turner
Jennifer
movie.
Lopez is like Halle Berry. Like they're very committed.
Yes.
No matter what they're doing, they're
Yes.
saying their lines.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'd much rather watch that than watch somebody be like, kind of like act. I hate that people think that's real. Like really like kind of quiet whisper acting.
I think to Boy Next Door, I added my own music cue. Boy Next Door, Boy Next Door. Anyway, for the few things. We are moving on to a little bit of a commercial. Now, if you're paying attention, we're going to do another trivia question.
Great, and I don't answer it right
we
away.
We won't answer it until after
It's going to be
the
really hard
commercial.
for me.
All right. But you'll tell us if you know it all right.
Okay.
I know you, Drew. I don't know you that well, but I know that much about you.
You know that.
Blake, what you got?
All right, this is another two-parter. Which Hustlers actress admitted to drugging and robbing men before they were famous? Question
Got
one.
it.
And which actress has worked with J-Lo 2 times before Hustlers?
Wow.
Okay.
It's a lot for everyone to
also
think
in
about.
Hustlers now. 2 times before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take a
All
guess.
right. You're listening to the Wow Report. We'll keep counting down when we come back. Listen to Radio Andy, Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
We are back. This is the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood, California, the headquarters of World of Wonder.
Come to our store. You can. It's right by RuPaul's Star.
Yeah, if you're in LA,
Yeah.
don't hesitate. I'm Tom Campbell. I'm here with Blake Jacobs, sometimes Blake Edwards, and Drew Droege.
That's it.
I said it right.
You sure did.
Fenton and James have abandoned us, and we're having so much fun. I kind of forgot. Just so you know.
too.
So thanks, Drew. Anytime, come back.
It's my first time. I'm glad to be here.
It's working. It's working for us. Now, before we went away, Blake asked us a little trivia question because that's a little bonus thing we add to the radio show.
We
which
do,
people
yeah.
just love.
We talked about J-Lo's new movie Hustlers before the break. So I asked, which Hustlers actress admitted to drugging and robbing men before they were famous?
1, 2, 3.
Cardi B.
That's correct. And which actress has worked with J-Lo 2 times before?
Julia Stiles.
Constance Wu.
No and no. It's Keke Palmer. They are both voice cartoon characters in Ice Age 1 and 2
I
or
would
whatever.
have no idea.
Thanks so
I have
much.
No
That's
clue.
great. Well, you got us. You feel good? You feel good about
I
yourself?
do.
All right, good. All right, we're moving on to number 4.
Number 4.
I just flew in Las Vegas.
Are your arms tired?
And I got to see
Mom, please go to sleep. Put down the Chardonnay.
Trying to do a radio show. They're about to close after a record-breaking 11-year run. There's more about why I went in a minute, but I saw Donny Marie in Las Vegas in concert.
Oh my God, how was that?
It was, almost without any irony, the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
I'm just coming off of it. I'm so full of the love and the juice and the flow of Donny Marie. Now, again, I'm from...
Now, are you a fan, or have you been a fan for your life?
I grew up. I'm
talks about 'em
older than
every
you. I don't talk
radio
about it every
show.
time. I just when I can. But Donny and Marie were Friday night in the late '70s. Their show before your time.
Yeah.
And you don't repeat it. But they were young America, and they were beautiful. And before that, it was Donny Osmond, and he was so beautiful. And before that, it was the Osmond brothers. That my sister had a poster of the Jackson 5 ripped out of 60 magazine,
it.
and she'd flip it, and she'd flip it every day. And I'll show you the picture. You would want to flip it too. And did you know that before that Donny Osmond was and the Osmond brothers were featured on the Andy Williams variety show, which played. And and Donny made his debut at 5 years old singing Barbershop with his brothers. And before that, Andy Williams was part of a boy. He's the Andrew brothers. What's his name again?
Williams?
Andy
Thank you, the
Williams.
Williams brothers. 2 first names throw me off.
Sure.
And
The Andrews sisters.
how old do you think Marie's was when she sang Paper Roses, her first hit?
13.
12.
Wow.
So like their whole life. And then they had this variety shows. They dealt with everybody. Then they had a talk show.
They had their own TV studio, didn't they?
That was the Donny Marie show was such a big hit, and they had skaters instead of dancers. They would start singing. No one can back and forth like Donny Marie, which I'm told, and I hope they're not listening, but I'm told they don't really talk a lot off stage. Can you imagine
have
working
heard
with
that.
your brother or sister
I love
every
my brother
day
dearly.
for
and
60
we're
years.
very close, but I don't know that we would want to do that.
They look fantastic. They have arguments on stage which are hilarious. They've both done Dancing with the Stars. They've both been on Broadway. They've both toured Broadway shows.
Well, and I watched him on The Masked Singer. He was
Yes,
the Peacock.
he was the Peacock.
He was the
Oh.
biggest like showman of the
Yes,
show.
he also hosted $100,000 Pyramid at one point. She's now one of the hosts of The Talk. It's like they have been around working for about 50 to 55 years. And they've done everything in show business, not all of it glamorous. They have the longest running show. And as they point out in a montage, they have worked with like people born in the 1800s. Like they did stuff with Kate Smith, Bob Hope, Groucho Marx, George Burns, Anne Margaret, Lucille Ball. Like, and it wasn't like they walked
Nicole
by
Richie.
them.
All of them.
And it wasn't like exactly. And it wasn't like they just walk by them. It was sort of like, okay, like they're in makeup. They're blocking with Lucille Ball for like a Star Wars sketch on the Donny Marie show.
So crazy.
It's a crazy world.
It is.
And they sing
And what was the show like?
everything. They have a bunch of dancers they have a bunch of dancers, and there's multiple costume changes. They come out together, and everything's a medley. And do not underestimate the power of a medley. So they sing like, one can have a dream, baby, two can make a dream come true. It takes two to make a thing go right.
Yeah.
It takes two to make it out of sight. It takes two, baby.
Slick Rick.
Hey. And then they sing pop songs. They'll sing like Bruno Mars stuff, but it's always medleyized in a way that's right because it keeps your attention.
Right.
And they're singing live for most of it. I think they might during some of the dance numbers they might go off, but they have dance. And then she does her whole thing. She sings opera at one point.
Does she sell dolls on stage?
She does not, but we talk about that. I loved her dolls. And Donny sings stuff from Joseph and the Amazing. Like he just
Okay,
wows
right.
them, and the audience is a bunch of people who look like me, but they're women. And
Harry?
and they love him. And when again, you have to be a certain age
Yeah.
demo. But they've performed in Vegas their show more times than Elvis and Celine Dion combined.
Wow.
Wow.
Dang.
Donny Marie, you still have a chance. I think
November 19th.
November
I think.
19th, and they're going away. But it is, and I think they're sold out because people are really into them. And Marie's on The Talk now, so you can watch her every day. And I love a little bit of cheese, but talent underneath it because you can't work that long without talent, and just the chutzpah, the idea that we are in show business, baby, and we are going to make this work. Donny Marie.
November 6th. You have it till November 16th at the Flamingo.
Okay, November 16th. Wonderful. All right, moving on to number 3, Blake.
Number 3.
Well, also at the Flamingo, right after Donny and Marie's show wraps, RuPaul's Drag Race Live.
It was announced.
written by you.
I'm one of the writers. I guess I am the writer. And RuPaul is directing, along with Jamal Sims, who's an amazing
I love
director.
Jamal. God, he's the greatest.
And
One of the most talented.
and beautiful,
Gorgeous.
in a way. Not objectifying him, but I just find I get to see people meet him for the first time and just be like, Jamal.
Oh my God.
Because he's so talented and friendly and sweet.
Have you
And
seen
Pop
When the Beat
Quiz.
Drops, his documentary?
Oh, yeah.
We produced
Oh,
that.
you produced it here. Yeah, hi. Welcome to Wow.
Welcome to the world of He's
And
a
Pop-
celebrity.
I'm
You
like,
know-
let me tell you about Jamal Sims, and you're like, we know.
He and his
He's
husband
incredible.
were married by Queen Latifah on the Grammys.
That when Madonna married all the gay people at the beginning of the Grammys.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you were you
right.
were in that coma then.
I was
Remember
alive
that?
then. That was
You had that
not,
coma
Oh,
thing,
then
though.
there was that coma.
Coma weekend.
Coma schmoma.
So funny.
Leland also is a co-writer. Right?
Yes.
And it'll be a rotating cast of 7 of the girls,
Yeah,
right?
who's in it now?
Okay, it's going to keep changing. We have some like Evie Oddly, Asia O'Hara, Cameron Michaels, Naomi Smalls, Derek Barry, but a lot more. And the show is designed that it takes 6 queens to do it plus an MC queen, and it's sort of like going to a viewing party of in a bar of watching a RuPaul's Drag Race episode. So the episode is live on stage, kind of musicalized, and then the audience gets to interact because of the MC sort of helping
How
them.
fun.
I don't want to say Moulin Rouge stole it from us, but yeah.
Sure.
I haven't even seen it, but I'm just throwing it together. It's going to be really fun. RuPaul appears on screens in Ru Mails. but and is directing it. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. As soon as it's done, I'll tell you for sure. But
When does it open?
It opens in the end of January.
January 2020.
Tickets are available now.
Tickets are available now, starting at $49.
Yeah, and it is going to be, and that's why we were there to not only meet Donny and Marie, who were so wonderful. Okay, last my Donny Marie is at the end. They're like, we have some special people in the audience. We're like, oh, thank you. And it was Dick Clark's wife. You ever see Dick Clark's wife? She had this. She
I'm
always
thinking
has,
of Jean Kasem. I was thinking
No,
that's immediately where I
good.
went to like Casey
Dick
Kasem's
Clark's wife has always had this like beautiful bun on top of her head. It's very stylish. We'll have to look her up. And she did then. And they said to her, because everyone says this about Dick Clark, and again, you're young kids, that so many people owe their career to Dick Clark. He broke them. He put them on the air. Diana Ross, he integrated music. So she was there. And then Donny, a professional. Someone in show business said, we have somebody else here who's taking over this club. They were looking for a long time to find someone to break up this brother, sister, male, female act. And they got it all in one person, RuPaul. I thought it was, I don't know. Anytime that Donny Osmond points at your booth, I feel good about it.
Wow.
I know you're jealous.
No, I'm sure Rue was
Process
like
it.
had a moment too. I'm sure.
It
It's like
was.
you never lose that. It's like you're as a child and someone that you loved as a kid, and you look
Yes.
up to you. Yeah, that's a big deal.
And they were rushing us off stage to get backstage, and Donny and Marie were going, "May tomorrow be a perfect." I was like, "Hold everything." That's the very ending thing. Good night, everybody. So we will be there.
Well, and that's not even the only RuPaul's
Oh my God!
related news.
Okay, what is it?
We've got RuPaul's DragCon UK too.
Did you know that we did RuPaul's
January.
Drag Race in the United Kingdom?
Yes, I did know that.
It's coming out
the
October
show
3rd.
is October 3rd. Yes, you can get it on Wow Presents. Cheaper than the price of a latte.
And that's the only place you can watch it, or can you watch it on anywhere?
No.
Well, if you're in England, you can watch it on the
sure.
BBC Three player.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
And if you're in Canada, you can watch it on Crave.
Yes, and I think it will eventually come to the U.S. And we'll announce that when it happens. I think it's gonna be on one of the.
But you can watch it on Wow Presents Plus, our streaming service.
Right.
I'll send you a link.
But
if
we
you're
have
really
Love it,
upset.
We have RuPaul's DragCon UK coming up with all the queens from RuPaul's
So we have
DragCon.
10 new superstar queens out of
Right.
the UK, and a bunch of the US queens will be there. And we've done DragCon for several successful years here in LA, several in New York. This is our first one in the UK.
We're taking it all across the pond January 18th, or actually 18th and 19th of
Yes.
January.
Have you been to a DragCon?
I've been to the one in LA probably 3 or 4 years.
So you like it?
I do. Yeah, I love it.
It's a nice feeling, right?
It's wonderful. It's crazy to see the wide spectrum. I run into so many straight comedian friends from UCB there with their girlfriends like showing up, like who are obsessed with Drag Race, like unbelievably know more about it than I do. And then there's a play place for kids, and then there's, and
Photo ops and
yes,
panels
absolutely.
It's a majority. More people. We do a poll, and more people who identify as straight go to DragCon. Than,
right. I saw that
yeah.
too. 60% straight and 40% gay. I think.
And it's kind of, I always, especially in New York, because I have so many New York friends, and it's a great way to see everybody one weekend. Like, let's come to DragCon and we'll walk around.
Right.
But they're all just like, what is this? And it's kind of magical, and they're not necessarily all of them drag
also,
people.
like a lot of the queens who I've known. I've lived in LA for 20 years, and I've known a lot of these queens for almost that long. And it's really amazing to have some of my straight friends or more, that are out of the gay world who are shocked that I know these people. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, you know Willem? And I'm like, I've known Willem for probably 18 years.
Right.
And
now they're
so
like,
it's
they're
exciting.
supermodels.
It's cool. I mean, it makes me happy that they are.
I love it.
So more info, RuPaulsDragCon.com.
Thanks for making yours one all about plugs. I really appreciate that.
Plug.
Speaking of plugs, how about my hair, ladies and gentlemen? No, we're moving on to number 2 with Drew.
Number 2.
I am doing a new solo show right now at the Celebration Theater called Happy Birthday, Doug.
You're promoting something on this show?
I don't know. I thought I would. I don't know. Like,
It's called Happy Birthday, Doug.
Yep.
At the
that's
Celebration
Theater.
Tell us about
I'm playing 9 characters. They're all gay men.
So it's like you in everyday
It's
life.
pretty much me, as I am. Like my neighbors think I'm absolutely crazy because I'm in there going.
What did you post the other day? It was just him in a wig, and it says, "I'm Mary Queen of Scott." First, I have to find Scott, though.
Oh yeah, I had an audition, and I never audition in drag. When I have to go and because I'm not a real drag queen, and any drag queen worth their salt would tell me that, would happily look at my face and go, you're a booger queen. You paint with like, ugh, and it's like you get in the basement of Casita del Campo and scream at people in a wig. So I just was trying on wigs, and so then I just made them different characters. And so I had my one with the long hair. Her name was Mary, Queen of Scott, and she was very stern. And she was off to Scott knows what he did. And then my other character was like blonde and like fun, and her name was Sounds About Right. And I was like, sounds about right is she was just having fun in her car. That was her character. But this show, I'm playing 9 gay men. I don't play any women in this show. They're all at a birthday party. It's Doug's birthday, who spoiler, comes out at the end. But it's about gay relationships, friendships, exes, lovers, gays with kids, old queens, and what we have to learn from them, the young generation and their obsession with being politically correct. I had a lot of things to say about us, and I wanted to put it into a show where I got to play everybody.
And you don't work well with others.
Absolutely not. Can't you tell? I'm a monster.
I feel it. When did this idea come to you?
It was a total. The last show I did, I played. It was called Bright Colors and Bold Patterns, and I played one character talking to multiple people the night before a wedding in Palm Springs. And I always was like, what if I flip this and I play the other characters, and what would that look like and be? And then I just was starting to thinking about us and at parties and how we are at openings, and how gay people are my favorite and least favorite people in the world, and I think we can agree on that. It's like the people you go to like an Outfest opening or Bears in Space like we did at Akbar, or a WOW event or whatever. It's so much fun. I love being a part of the gay world, and especially in LA. So this one is set, the other one was in Palm Springs. This one's set in LA, and it's very much about, I feel like now, and being gay in the entertainment industry. It's not really so much about being an actor, but it's just about being creative out here and how we can be horrible to each other, and my whole thing is, everything I write is like, let's just be nicer to each other.
Right.
And the way I say that is by being the most awful people I can be, because it's also a lot of fun. But I think we are also at a place where we're ready for gay anti-heroes and not having to see all these just like champion gay characters and things. I want to see villains and monsters, or at least
some complexity,
like cracked people who are damaged, people who are
100%.
working through it, like who are just real, that we can relate to.
The way I get through my own real life, when there's someone I'm obsessed, like it's always the person that's just like, I'm like, that you just don't like or you hate. I can't believe they said that. And then you realize, oh my God, if this were Dynasty, this person would be the star of the thing. Like, you need them for life in a weird way.
Absolutely.
I don't want to condone evilness, but you're like, and it's our own making a lot of times too,
Yes.
how we perceive people.
Oh, and we are our own worst enemy, and we create, and we, I think also because we don't sometimes know what to say socially, we can be really bitchy, and we don't know where the line is, and there are friends that you can be incredibly awful with, and that's your way of saying I love you, So it's a very sort of tricky thing, but we will beat ourselves up. We're so, self-deprecating, and a lot of times we throw that on to each other. So that's what I wanted to
I
to
think
do.
it sounds brilliant.
And
you were just about to say who directed it and be kind, and I cut you off. Who's directing it?
Tom DeTrenis, who is a genius and delight, and so he directed it. It's going to be at the Celebration Theater in LA for 2 more nights on Saturday and Sunday this weekend.
There's still tickets?
There are still tickets. There's still a few tickets.
I'd like to come.
So please come. I'd love for you to come.
I'd love to come.
CelebrationTheater.com. And then if you're in New York, it'll be, I'm starting a run off Broadway at the Soho Playhouse in February. So
Yay.
come check us
Exciting.
out in February in New York.
And I'm probably gonna see an offensive character and sue you, saying it's me.
Oh, I hope so.
So that's like,
I'll see you in
that
court.
bitch. She's like, I'll see you in court. New York, watch out. All right, that's wonderful. We are just moments away from revealing the number one thing this week that made us go, wow. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Okay, we are back. This is the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM. I'm Tom Campbell here with Blake Jacobs and a gentleman who has been a pleasure to have on our show. Will you please come back?
Please have me back. This is so much fun. I'd love to come do it anytime. I love it.
Droege.
Close.
Droege.
There you go.
I'm so bad.
Fine.
We're going to have a nickname. I'm going to call you Mr. Magoo.
Just think
Mr.
like
Magoo.
Mr. Magoo, how do you do?
I always call him Drew Druggy.
Well, we have stories.
So
That's in a very special episode of the Wow Report. We'll talk about that another time.
Say Blake and I've known each other for quite a while.
I love that. We have been counting down the top 10 things that make us go, wow. And we are now at number 1.
Number 1.
Very self-serving episode. Last Sunday was the Shmemmys, which are the Creative Art Emmys, because there's so many goddamn Emmys. They have to have 3 ceremonies. This Sunday is the Emmys on television. Please watch. RuPaul's Drag Race is up for an Emmy. We won last year, amazingly, for outstanding competition reality show.
And didn't Ru win for Best Host last week?
And last week
they split up. Yeah,
yes.
you're going to say all this.
No,
stuff.
it's fine. Last week we won a few. What did we win?
We won Outstanding Host, Outstanding Costumes, and Outstanding Hairstyling.
Yes.
And the thing with Ru's Best Host, he's now tied Jeff Probst.
Yes.
From the American
This is the 4th
Survivor
year in a row that Ru has won Outstanding Host.
And he's tied Jeff Probst from, was it The Amazing Race or Survivor?
He's in Survivor.
Yeah. Survivor.
And I have to give a shout out to my friend Art Khan for
Yes.
Best
Art
Costume.
Khan, yes,
We
yes.
love Art.
Art did that, and it's amazing. The whole team works so well. I'm sure people want their own Emmys, but it's really exciting when people on your team get an Emmy.
Sure.
And Drag Race is funny because I don't think we ever started. I know we didn't start doing Drag Race thinking this is Emmys. This is Emmy campaign stuff. We love what we do.
Right.
And we always have a healthy, inflated sense of self here at World of Wonder. Like we put our heart and soul into stuff, and we think it's all good. But to actually be in a moment in time which has something to do with us, and not that this can break through and be in a place where your peers or the community reward you. It's nice, and I know it doesn't last forever. So it's finding a humble but appreciative place for it.
And I also wanted to mention, since we didn't have last week, our show was from New York.
That's right.
DragCon New York, but we had a very close person pass away on our team. Jacqueline
Yes.
Wilson was one of the producers on RuPaul's Drag Race,
Yes.
and RuPaul talked about her and dedicated his award.
Yes,
to
he
her.
did on the award. Jacqueline Wilson was with the show for 10 years. She, along with Mish, were the head of the story department, which in reality TV means they interviewed the queens, they pre-interviewed the queens, they helped shape the story and edit, dealt with the incredible personalities and the egos of the queens. But more than anything, both of them and Jacqueline, they loved drag. They would go to show. It wasn't like I'm off the clock and I don't care to shit anymore. They were front row at everything. They were backstage. I think it's a big deal. I know for these queens to be thrust into the public, limelight, to being sort of unknown to being big stars,
Sure.
and a lot of mind stuff and pressure comes and internet and all that, and they were there for them in that way too. And you don't. Jacqueline was very private about her illness, and so her death came as a real surprise and shock to most of us. And thank you, Jacqueline, for everything you did. RuPaul said, this year we're celebrating Jacqueline Wilson's Drag Race,
Right.
And it reminds you of all those cliches, but geez, life
So short.
can short and go like that. So I try. We'll see how long it lasts. But I'm really the elevator broke. But I'm trying just to say hello to everyone, and because you get in your mood where you're just up in the elevator and for no good reason. But you just look at people, and I'm always resentful because I go away for a bunch of months to produce Drag Race. I come back and who are all these new people?
Oh, sure.
Who are you? And why do I have to know your name? Are you nicer than me? I just talk to everyone. I know I'm not.
Are you nicer than me?
Are you nicer than me?
Probably.
I don't. Probably with that attitude, Mister. All right.
Well, watch next Sunday or this Sunday.
This Sunday.
too. We're up for
Fox Emmy Awards,
outstanding reality
8
competition.
p.m. Be great to win. If we don't win, whatever. But it's fun to
What
be
are you
there.
nominated against? Amazing Race? Is that still on? I don't even know.
I feel like
Who cares?
I feel like the new the new competition I think is Nicole Byer, who I love.
Oh my God, nailed it.
Nailed it.
I love Nicole Byer.
I do too.
The world's greatest.
Someone.
Oh yeah, we're getting a show behind us.
I love it. If you're watching us, you can watch us on YouTube. The Wow
what's
Report.
happening?
Wow
Yeah, you can
Presents.
watch us on Wow Presents, our YouTube channel.
But Fenton, James, hurry back or don't because we're having fun here. But I want to thank Blake.
Thank
I want to
you.
thank Droege.
No,
Droege,
you got it
fuck.
right. You were so
That
good.
was so good.
Hard
How
G.
did I forget it?
Hard
That doesn't
G.
Droege.
Hoagie, the hoagie sandwich.
Droege. Hogan's Heroes.
Then
Hoagie's
it's
Heroes.
Drew Drogos. I think we're gonna get it wrong. again.
Druggy, I like to think.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'd love to come back anytime. Thanks for having me.
You're so talented. And make sure you see Happy Birthday, Doug, this weekend at the Celebration Theater. I'm going to have to go Saturday.
Saturday or Sunday?
This Sunday I'm going to be at the
Oh, the Emmys.
Shmemmys, yes.
Yeah. Saturday at 8, Sunday at 7.
All right. Got to do it. All right. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, remember to go out and do something that makes the world go wow.
Wow.
You
I
got
get
it.
it
You got it.
now.
Wow. Bye.